Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone out to our second installment of Cooking with the Chef. We've decided to do some simple Mexican favorites today. We're going to show how to do homemade taco seasoning, tacos, where they have chicken and beef, how to do a simple pico de gallo sauce, as well as guacamole.
There's a couple of good reasons why you'd want to make your own seasoning instead of buying the packet one. Byproducts or fillers, I mean, you know what's going in it if you make it. Also, you can adjust the seasoning. If you like a little more garlic, you can add more garlic to it. If you like a little more salt, you can add more salt to it. So customizing it as well. And it's so easy to make. Should we make some?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So the first thing we're going to start with is the chili powder.
Just dump in right here.
Yep, and this is 3 times the recipe. And I like to do 3 times the recipe because then you have leftovers. You can seal the mason jar, put it on your shelf, and then you have it for next week's tacos or fajitas or whatever else you're making. Paprika is next, and then cumin, garlic, oregano, and onion powder. And then we kick it up a little bit with some chili flakes, salt and pepper, and then the magic. Put the top on and shake it up. It's as simple as that. And now you have some taco seasoning, fajita seasoning. It's really good on French fries as well. So you'll find tons of things to put it on. Pork, chicken. Our chicken breast actually has that on there as well. So now we're going to start the taco meat. So we get a pan nice and hot. I have a pair of tongs. That'll do. So we're going to start to caramelize some onions. And I have a meat muddler. That is the best invention ever. That way you don't get clumps in your ground beef. So we get that going, and then we will put in the meat. And you just break it up. Now you can drain this. This is 90% lean, so this is going to not create as much grease as you would if you had an 80-20 ground beef. So we are not going to be draining this, but if you do use a fattier meat, you would have to drain off some of the grease. So that's coming together nicely. Once you get it to about that point, that's when you want to go ahead and add some of your seasoning that you just made. And for a pound, you add about 3 tablespoons of this seasoning. I'm doing a little bit less than a pound here today. So, and then when you want to talk about the ways you can serve this, whether it's flour tortilla or hard shell or something like that.
For today's purposes, what we're doing is we have 3 different options here. We have either your traditional hard taco shell, your soft flour tortilla, as well as we've used some of these to make, which is also really popular, taco salad.
So you see there's a lot of ways you can serve this one dish. And we have some of this already made. Oh, yes, you add this is crushed tomato. You can add crushed tomato, you can add diced tomato, it just depends on, you know, how much you like tomatoes. And that sort of pulls it all together. That kind of makes it the taco meat and not just ground beef. That and the seasoning. So what we did is we took chicken breast as well and we put the taco seasoning on the chicken breast. And that's what we have here. And then we're going to slice that up and we're going to use that on the tacos, the hard shell, the soft shell, as well. So it's easy to slice. You slice it down the middle and then cross like this. And then we'll do, should we do the pico? This is ready. So now we've got our meat ready, we've got our shells ready, we've got our chicken ready, and now we're going to make some pico de gallo.
Fresh ingredients, nothing is cooked, nothing is sauteed, nothing is roasted. It's just fresh ingredients added, and it's very, very chunky, and it has very, very low moisture. And speaking of low moisture, if you'll notice, whenever you go in the supermarket, you'll always see a stand, and they always have the peppers, the onions, and Roma tomatoes. Does anyone know why they use the Roma tomatoes? You in the back.
To produce more flavor?
Possibly. The biggest difference is that a Roma tomato has very, very low moisture. When you cut it in half, squeeze it, there's almost no juice that comes out. So that gives you that chunky, low moisture, that texture that you want. Now salsas, there's probably 1,001 different recipes for salsas. And the main thing is as you mentioned, salsa is smoother. A lot of times it's cooked. When I do salsa, I grill my onions and my jalapenos, and so it's completely different. And so what we're doing now today is just your basic, fresh pico de gallo. So Zach's going to help me as we put this together. It's basically really simple. It's just tomatoes.
All of it in?
All of it in. Onion. We're using red onion today. You can use either red onion, white onion, yellow onion, personal preference. Cilantro. Now here again, we're going to use jalapeno. Now, there's different types of peppers, and there again it goes with personal preference. Some people like it extremely hot. If you want it extremely hot, you can go serranos. If you want it nuclear hot, you can go habaneros. There again, it's just total, complete personal preference. We're also going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and some lime juice. And that's all there is to it. Very, very simple.
Garlic in there too.
A little bit of garlic.
So I saved this half of the pepper because we did seed this jalapeno just so it wouldn't be so hot. But you can leave the seeds and the ribbing in, which will create a much hotter pepper. I like to use a fork like this. It just gets all the juice out. You can turn it and look at that. So if you mix that up, that looks good. All right, should we put something together?
Let's do it. Yeah. The other thing that we're going to also make is what you can do with soft flour tortillas is quesadillas. And quesadillas are probably a children's favorite, and also they're very, very simple to do. And you can do these with just any kind of meat, like what we've done here. We've done with the beef, chicken, you can do fish. There again, personal preference on what you want to put inside them. For today's purposes, we just have lettuce, tomato, cheese. Traditionally, you're going to use Monterey Jack, maybe cheddar cheese. There again, personal preference, what you'd like to do. Just put a tiny little bit of oil in your pan. We're going to use some chicken. We're going to use some cheese.
And quesadilla is a little cheesy thing, so you can never use enough cheese.
You want some green onion?
And we're going to take another tortilla, place it on top. Turn it over. As you can see, it takes about 2 minutes tops to make that. And here again, you can use cheese, pineapple, mango. Sky's the limit on what kind of toppings you'd like to put on it.
What else do we want?
And another thing that you can't forget is homemade guacamole. Take your avocado, cut it this way with your knife, twist it in half, take your knife again, pop the seed out. What I like to do is then slice it, dice it, slice it, dice it, scoop it out. I just like to use a little bit of lime juice as well as a little bit of salt and pepper. And you'll notice that a lot of times you'll see guacamole will have it'll have garlic, it might have tomatoes, it might have peppers in it, all kinds of different things. But as you can see, when we've already prepared your main dish that you're using it on, it already has those items in it. So it's up to you whether or not you want to add those into it. But for our purposes, what I like to do is just to use those simple ingredients there.
Pepper?
Pepper.
Yeah, you can add pico de gallo to that. You can add, it just depends on what your preference is.
As you can see, that's all there is to it. You can add a little to whatever dish you're preparing, and that's pretty much it for preparing these items. So I guess now we will all sit back and have lunch. So, bon appetit, and we're glad that you all came out and were able to watch and join us with this today.